Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. It looks like we still have a few people who are getting logged in. So we'll go ahead and kind of get started with introductions and things like that while we wait, but we should have a few more people joining us this evening as well. To go ahead and get started, I'll introduce myself, but while I'm doing that, feel free to utilize the chat feature throughout this session. I have a second screen up here, so I can see the chat. If you have any questions as we go throughout, feel free to ask them. I will kind of be monitoring that and I'll be able to answer those as we go. I'll also have some time at the end for that as well. While I'm introducing myself to you all, go ahead and if you'd like in the chat, introduce yourself as well. Let us know, where you're coming from, what program or major you're interested in, when you're looking at starting at the university, things like that. That will help me know a little bit about how to tailor our session tonight so that you get the best information that you're looking for. So go ahead and feel free to start doing that in the chat, and then we will go ahead and get started shortly. So my name is Val Horwath. I'm the Manager of Recruitment and Outreach for the College of Education and Human Development here at Western. So happy Western Wednesday from WMU to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to share my passion for the university, a little bit about our programs and all of that with you today. So a little bit about myself. I am a two-time Bronco alum. So I completed my bachelor's degree back in 2016. And then I actually just finished my master's degree this year, a couple months ago, back in April during virtual graduation. So that was fun. I'm a second generation Bronco. So both of my parents went to Western as well. And now I have been a Kalamazoo resident for 8 years. Kalamazoo, Michigan is where Western is located. So I've lived here ever since I first moved onto campus into the residence halls my freshman year. A little bit about our university as we're going in. So a little bit about us, both the College of Education and Human Development, which is what this session is about, as well as the university in general. So if you have ever been on one of the campus tours, or if you've come to one of our events back when we were having in-person events, anything like that, you probably know that Western Michigan was founded as a teacher's college back in 1903. And so this is something that we in the College of Education and Human Development are super proud of, because we love having that foundation of the university as a teacher's college. But obviously we've grown a lot since then. The university has grown a lot since then and has a lot more programs to offer now as well. So fast forward to today, we are primarily located in 3 buildings across campus. So the home and the heart of our college is in Sangren Hall, and Sangren Hall is the newest academic building on campus. And so with that, most of our main offices, things like advising, student success, dean's office, we'll talk about all of that later on. Those are all located in Sangren Hall, as well as 4 of our 6 departments. And then our human development majors are located in the Student Recreation Center for our human performance and health education programs, and then in Corman Hall for our family and consumer sciences majors. Now, if this were an in-person info session, or if we had you on campus for an event right now, we would take you for a tour through all of our different spaces, show you all the cool stuff that we have going on. Unfortunately, we can't do that right now. And so what I've done, go ahead and take a screenshot of this slide if you want, or if you have something to write with, go ahead and write down this website that's right here. I'll have some other websites for you to write down throughout our webinar this evening, but go ahead and go there, because what we have done is we have put kind of all of that online for you to access at your leisure, which is awesome. So here you can see just a sample picture from each building, but we have pictures of all of our different specialty classrooms and lab spaces in the buildings up on this webpage that's up on the slide. So in Sangren Hall, the example that we have here is our science education classroom. We have 4 specialty education classrooms that are designed to simulate, a classroom out in an actual school, have those different materials that you'll be using when you're learning to teach, all of that good stuff. There's also a children's library, a reading clinic, some instructional observation rooms as well. In the Student Recreation Center right here, you can see our exercise physiology lab is pictured. So Amanda, you said kinesiology. At Western, we call that exercise science. So this would be an example of a lab that you would be having class in, our exercise physiology lab. We also have an athletic training lab and a biomechanics lab as well in the Student Recreation Center. And then in Corman Hall, we have our family and consumer sciences majors. And so we have pictured here one of our fashion, our sewing apparel labs. We have another fashion lab as well. We have 4 interior design studios, as well as a design gallery and a food service kitchen. So there's a lot going on in our spaces. Again, feel free to go to the website to peruse some different videos that we have of our lab spaces, as well as photos of these different classrooms. Okay, so I'm going to go through, before we get any further, I'm going to talk a little bit about the different programs that fall into our college. So I'll touch first on the teacher education programs, and then I'll touch on the human development or the non-teaching majors as well. So kind of stay tuned for this part, and I'll talk briefly about the program you're interested in, and then after that, we'll get on to some more information that is relevant for all of the students in our college. So like I said, Western started as a teacher's college. We still have strong education programs today. So up on the screen are all of the different teacher education programs that are offered at the university. So we do have art and music education at Western. Those are both K-12 teaching certificates, and those are primarily run through the College of Fine Arts. And then we also have business education. So if you want to teach things like marketing, accounting, school store, those type of classes in a typically a high school setting, but that secondary 6 through 12 certificate there. We have 2 different ways to do elementary ed. So you'll see the early childhood elementary and then the regular elementary ed up on the screen. What both of these programs have in common is a K-5 core. So both these programs certify you to teach kindergarten through 5th grade in all subjects. So math, language arts, social studies, and science. Also up to 8th grade in what's called a self-contained classroom. And then what you build onto that core determines which major you would go into. So if you want to build on the early childhood endorsement or the ZS endorsement, which is birth through age 8. So if you want to focus on like preschool, really little kids, early start, head start, or focus on lower elementary, that would be the program for you. And then the regular elementary education builds on the opposite. So builds on the middle school side of that. So the regular elementary also includes grades 6 through 8 in a subject area of your choice. So you would choose to take additional classes in, for example, language arts, if that's what you want to be certified in at the middle school level. And then we have family and consumer sciences teacher education. So this is for classes like a lot of those elective classes you might find in a high school setting, right? So things like parenting, dietetics, child development, kind of home economics courses if you still have those different places. So any of those type of classes that you would have fall into those family and consumer sciences subjects. Again, grades 6 through 12. Also grades 6 through 12 is industrial technology education. So this covers everything like wood shop, drafting, metals, AutoCAD, some of those different classes, again, 6 through 12. So typically you'll see those in like high school electives and things like that. Physical and health education is a K-12 certificate in Michigan. So it's a combined program and it can be done in either 4 or 5 years on a track, and it certifies you equally. So you get certified for physical education K-12 as well as health education K-12. And then secondary education, I will talk about a little bit more in a minute. So that is grades 6 through 12. That is a master's degree program track. And again, I'll touch on that in just a minute. And then lastly is special education. Special education is a unique program because it certifies you special ed K-12, focusing on learning disabilities and emotional impairments. So you can teach any grade of special education in the state of Michigan through the special ed certificate. The special ed program in Michigan, this is true at any school in the state of Michigan, so regardless of where you're looking to go, they're required to have what's called a base certification as well. So in addition to special ed K-12, you have to build on a regular teaching certificate as well. So at Western, we automatically include regular elementary ed in that. So for that reason, the special ed program is a 5-year teaching program by design, because you get certified K-12 for special ed, as well as that elementary ed K-5 all subjects. Okay, so lastly, I said I would talk a little bit more about secondary ed. So our secondary education program has transitioned to a master's degree certification option. So this certifies you 6 through 12 in these traditional subjects. Again, they're listed on the screen, so this does not include the ones I already talked about, like business education or industrial tech ed or any of those. So the way that this works is if you're interested in teaching secondary ed, you will do your bachelor's degree through the College of Arts and Sciences at Western in your subject area. So you would be doing you know, say you want to teach English, you would be doing your bachelor's degree in English while taking some undergrad intro education classes, which include getting experience in local schools and things like that. And then once you complete your bachelor's, you'll do our 1 year, 14-month master's degree in secondary education. So with that, you're in schools for the full calendar year, August through end of the school year in June, and also doing your pedagogy methods classes as well as your internship that full year. So you get a full year of classroom experience with the program before you are a certified teacher and go to apply for jobs, which is great. Okay, lastly, before we move on to the human development majors, I'm going to talk about kind of the course sequencing for both of the different types of programs that we have. So for teacher ed, our teacher education programs can be either 4 or 5 years, depending on the program and depending on, you know, what kind of credits you bring in, if you've done any dual enrollment, AP, IB, if you're a transfer student, anything like that. So typically your first couple of years are going to be doing, you know, any gen eds that you might have. Some majors such as special ed, elementary and early childhood have all the gen eds built in, which is awesome. But that content area coursework, we want you to have that foundation in those subject areas that you're going to teach before we then teach you how to teach them, because it wouldn't work very well the other way around. Then when you get into your middle years, then you're really starting to get into those pedagogy, education methods courses, your pre-internships, which get you into the classroom before your student teaching so that you can build up those skills in practice. And then once you're at the end of the program, again, whether it's 4 or 5 years, depending on the major that you're doing, you'll do your student teaching internship, which is either a full semester student teaching or a full year, 2 semesters of student teaching, depending on the program. So moving on for our human development programs. So this, again, is a list of the different human development or non-teacher certification majors that we have in the College of Education and Human Development. So we have quite a wide variety. As you can see, there's a lot of different programs that fall under us, which is awesome. There's a lot of different options for you if, you know, the teacher education thing is not your jam. So there's a wide range of things for you to choose from. So child and family development, family studies, and youth and community development, these fall under what we call our family science umbrella. So if you are interested in working with children and families or youth, adolescents, but outside of a traditional classroom setting, then this would be the type of program for you. So for example, child and family development can be careers like child psychology, social work, child life specialist, owning and operating a daycare center, anything like that. Family studies kind of works throughout the life cycle and can include adults as well, and even aging studies. And then youth and community development is kind of in the middle. It works with adolescents in out of school time type programs. And then we have some of those different health and wellness ones as well that I mentioned. So things like nutrition and dietetics and exercise science. Nutrition and dietetics prepares you to become a registered dietitian or an RD. And so this career basically focuses all on health and food and things like that. So it's a very science-based major, both of these are. So everything from, you know, how does the chemistry of our food interact with the biology of our body and why are certain things good and bad for us, all of that. And then exercise science is kind of a broad-based health and wellness program. You will hear it referred to as kinesiology at some schools. It's exactly the same program, just different names for it. But exercise science, there's actually 9 different elective tracks within the major that you can choose from to specialize it for the career that you want to go into. So whether that is, you know, following a track for professional school one day, so you can do exercise science for pre-med, pre-occupational therapy, pre-physical therapy, pre-athletic training, pre-physician assistant, chiropractic, things like that. But then you can also, and cardiac rehabilitation, but then there's also things like exercise physiology or personal fitness, where you can go and you can get a job directly with your bachelor's degree instead of going on for additional schooling as well. So lots of different options there. And then kind of on the creative side, we have fashion design and development, fashion merchandising, and interior design. So obviously these are all kind of more of those creative focused programs. The fashion design focuses on the product creation side, so actually designing clothing and seeing product lines through to production. And then fashion merchandising is more of the business side of the fashion world. You'll hear me say that a couple of times. We have some programs that kind of function as specialized business majors in a way. So fashion merchandising focuses on that side of the industry. So everything from product promotion to retail buying to event management for fashion shows, the different things like that. And then interior design is focused on the form and function of interior spaces. So it's what happens between architecture and interior decorating to, again, kind of design those inside spaces. Lots of drafting, lots of working with those computer design programs. And then kind of following along with those specialized business programs, we have recreation management and sport management. So these, again, focus on the business side of the leisure and sport industries. So whether that is, you know, the traditional, what you think of parks and recreation, or running summer camps, youth organizations, all the way up to, on the sport management side, you know, managing teams and players, managing athletic facilities, all the way up to things like sport statistics, sport law, sport media. There's a lot that goes into that, advertising and promotion, ticket sales. So it's a pretty big world. And again, there's lots of options to specialize based on your interest in those areas. And then the final one that we have is youth and community, or workforce education and development. Excuse me, I already talked about youth and community development. Workforce education and development is a non-teaching program, even though it has education in the name, but it focuses on kind of career readiness. So think about like career counseling type jobs, or like workforce education type jobs that you might find maybe at a community college or things like that, preparing people for their careers that they might want to have eventually one day. Okay, and then with human development, again, kind of your course sequences that you'll expect. Again, it'll vary a little bit based on any credits that you're bringing in. If you decide to double major or add a minor, things like that can all affect your time to degree. But in general, your first couple of years, you will be working on the intro classes for your major. So you do get to get intro classes into your program right from your first year. You'll also be working through our general education requirements, which are called Western Essential Studies, or WES, you might hear it called. And so all of that is just kind of those things that help you become a better rounded student and individual. And then in your middle to upper years, you'll obviously get into the majority of your major coursework. That is going to take up the most of the time that you're here at Western, is the coursework in your actual major. Again, doing any of those internships that you might have. I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but every program in our college requires an internship or field experience as part of the program. So obviously, if you're a teacher education major, that is going to be your student teaching internship. And then for the human development majors, the internship or field experience is your opportunity to specialize in the area that you want to go into. So if you know that you're an exercise science major and you want to do the personal fitness track as opposed to the pre-physical therapy track, then that internship will give you that experience in that specific area for your career. Or if you are, you can't decide between different areas under sport management or the different type of fashion business that you might want to be working in, that internship will help you explore different areas that you might be thinking about, so that you can know whether or not you like those different settings before you get out into the job application process. And then at the end of your program, you'll obviously be doing your capstone courses or anything like that that you have. Job searching and career prep, we make sure that you are ready for all of that. We have different career fairs throughout the year that we have. We also have a career center at the university who can do resume, skills, interview preparation, mock interviews, all of that. So we make sure that you are successful while you're here at Western, and also as you're getting ready to go forward into your next step. Okay, the last thing I'm going to talk about different programs are some of the different accelerated degree options that we have. So these are options to complete both your bachelor's and your master's degree in a shortened amount of time for certain programs. So a few of these options that we have are our master's in child life and family life education. These are both available in an accelerated format to people in those family science majors. So child and family development, youth and community development, family studies, things like that. And then on the education side, we do have a master's in TESOL, or Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. That's open to any education majors. And then specifically on the workforce ed and development side, if you are in any of those, business, family, consumer sciences, industrial tech ed, you're eligible for an accelerated master's in that field as well. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a second. It looks like we got a couple questions coming in before we move on. So the first one, Sydney, is the early childhood elementary education major a 4-year program? This program can be done in 4 years. It'll depend on if you're bringing in any credit. For most students, it typically ends up being about a 4.5-year program. So it's not longer than that by design, but most students find that in order to fit everything in without kind of stressing themselves out with a huge schedule, they typically tend to take 4.5 years, knowing that that last half of year, that last semester is your full-time student teaching. So not necessarily 4.5 years of classes, but just time to degree. But we have had students do it in 4. We've also had students take up to 5 years. So there are, again, different options depending on what you're bringing in, how many classes you want to take per semester, if you want to take summer classes or not. All of that can affect your time to degree as well. I hope that helps. Let me know if that didn't help answer your question. Amanda, does Western help students find their internships? Yes. So if you are on I'll answer this kind of generally for anybody in case anyone else was wondering. So if you're on the teacher education side of the college, we have an office called the Office of Clinical Experiences, and they coordinate all of the student teaching placements for all of our education majors. So they will be placing you in local schools, obviously according to your major, your grade levels and subject area that you want to teach. They're going to make sure that you have balanced internship experiences between different classroom environments, school environments, as well as the different subjects and certifications that you'll be having. So they take care of all of that. For those of you who are on the human development side, we have, obviously, our faculty members have lists of connections. We have places that past students have gone, but the human development programs do have a little bit more flexibility. So if you wanted to get experience in a certain business that you have a connection with already, or a certain, again, type of, in your situation, exercise science, a specific career under there that you want, you are free to pursue that opportunity on your own. Obviously, you just have to get it approved by your professor. So if you have something in mind that you want to do, you can pursue that. If you're like, I don't know where to start, I don't want to find something on my own, then we have some of those places that we can help you with. So it can go either way on the human development side, and then the teacher ed side, everything's taken care of for you through that Office of Clinical Experiences. Okay, so everything else, like I said before, that we're going to talk about from here on out are things that apply to all of the students in our majors, regardless of if you're on the teacher ed or the human development side of the college. So this will apply to everybody. And again, we'll have some time for the questions at the end, but if anything, feel free to type it in as it pops up if it's easier to remember that way. So first, we're going to talk about student organizations. So as you could probably guess, up on this slide is a list of all the different student orgs that we have that are associated with programs in our college. So this is not an exhaustive list from Western. Western has like over 300 student organizations, 300 or 400 now, I'm not sure what they're up to, at the whole university. So that ranges from, typical student government, sports organizations, different interest groups like the Harry Potter Club, the chess club, the esports, video games, things like that. So there's a wide variety of just purely interest-based activities, but then there are also what we call academic organizations. So these are organizations such as the ones that are listed on the screen that go with academic programs, or are sometimes even associated with professional associations for different careers. So on the left-hand side are the ones that are associated with our human development majors, and on the right-hand side are the ones that are associated with our teacher education majors. And so there's something out there for everybody, but I encourage you to get involved. Anyone that I talk to, I encourage to get involved in one student organization or some activity that's related to your academic major, your career goals, and then one that is just purely interest-based that has nothing to do with your career or your major or anything at all. So the reason that I recommend that is because one, you want to do something that's just for fun. So do something that's purely an interest-based, get some friends that have those similar interests in common. That's that. The reason I also recommend to not only be looking for and asking about these different academic organizations when you are looking at different schools, but then to get involved in them wherever you end up going, is because they can, especially in credentialed professions, so things like, teacher education or dietetics or exercise science, those things where you have some sort of, like, everybody has the same teaching certificate when you graduate. Everybody has the same, registered dietitian. Being involved in these organizations can help set you above somebody else who has that same degree and that same certificate as you. So, for example, they do different professional development opportunities, like sponsor students to go to conferences, or they'll host workshops, bring in guest speakers from the industry to talk about different things, or talk about what they look for when they're hiring. And then they also do social activities as well. So things that help you get to know other students in your major, maybe students in different years of your major, or, different sides of, for example, the teaching programs, different types of education majors, or people with different interests under sport management or things like that. So kind of twofold. Again, that's my shameless plug for student organizations. We have a wide variety of them for you here at Western, but make sure that that's something that you are looking for at all the different schools that you are looking into. Okay, so, and we did have a question come in, can I study abroad? I don't remember if I have information on study abroad on this or not, so I was going to wait, but I'll just answer this now. But yes, you can study abroad. Western has study abroad programs that go to lots of different countries, obviously once it's okay and safe to travel again. But yes, we have study abroad programs. We have some that would just purely count for elective credit. You can take advantage of any Western study abroad program that you want if it goes to a place that you're interested in and has a subject that you're interested in. We also have some that specifically work into our majors in the college. So, for example, on the teacher ed side, we have programs where you can actually do your student teaching internship abroad if you want. So for our elementary, early childhood programs, we have a program that goes to New Zealand. So you can do half of your student teaching internship semester in New Zealand. For our special education majors, we can actually do one of your two student teaching internship semesters in either London or Germany. So those are some cool different opportunities to teach abroad and get some of that experience abroad. We also have short-term programs that go to countries for maybe, like 2 or 3 weeks in the summer if you're not thinking about a full semester commitment. And those range from anywhere from the education also to the human development side. So we have programs that go to education and healthcare in China. Our fashion program has programs that go to Regent's University in London and also Florence Institute of the Arts in Italy. And then we have programs that go to Ireland, Peru, Nepal, China. I know that I'm forgetting some, but there's a wide variety that fall into your major. So that's something that we would recommend talking with your academic advisor about. Typically, students will study abroad in their junior year, obviously, unless you're doing one of those student teaching internship programs, because junior year tends to be that sweet spot for study abroad. So, you have some of your major classes out of the way, you are able to have enough context to really get the most out of the study abroad experience by that point, but it's not so late that it's bumping into senior year and your internships or job prep or things like that you might want to be doing. So junior year tends to be the sweet spot, but work with your academic advisor once you get to Western, and they will be able to let you know what opportunities are available that can fit into your program. So yes, we do have study abroad. I studied abroad twice, actually. I went on, they were both short-term trips. I went on a trip to Peru during my undergrad, and then I went on a trip to actually Malaysia and Singapore as part of my master's degree too. So very cool. Definitely recommend study abroad. I never thought for a minute that I would study abroad. I was way too scared to travel or anything like that, but I actually loved it because it's really like a secure way to enjoy and explore other countries, because everything's planned out for you. If it's a short-term trip, your faculty member is there with you the whole time, so you're with your professor and other Western students the whole time. So awesome experience, definitely recommend it. We also have different scholarships and things like that specifically for study abroad programs, in addition to just our regular scholarships for the university also. So definitely something to look into if you're interested in. So a little bit about some of our different kind of student success services and different things that we have to make sure that we're engaging you and getting you all the tools that you need to be successful at Western and beyond. So that starts with academic advising. So your academic advisor is a person who specializes in your program. So you know that we have a wide variety of programs that fall under our college. Our academic advisors all specialize in different areas of our programs. So you'll be working with somebody, probably the same like 1 or 2 people your whole time here, who are the experts in, you know, the major that you're majoring in. And so they help you plan out your courses each semester, make sure that you're meeting all the requirements for your degree to get to graduation. Again, they'll help you with the timing of your internships or study abroad or anything like that, planning for grad school, all of that stuff that kind of falls on that academic planning side of things. And they're super accessible as well. Obviously, we're not offering in-person appointments right now, but phone and video appointments and things like that. You can even talk to them before you're a student at Western, especially if you're thinking of doing any transfer or community college classes. They can help you pick out exactly what to take so that it all transfers right into your major with no problems. And then kind of on the flip side of that is our Student Success Center. So our Student Success Center, they focus on kind of all of that non-academic planning, everything outside of the academic advising that you have. So that could be, you know, things like general academic goals, like test prep or study skills, things that help your GPA or grade in a certain class. It could also be things like feelings of homesickness or getting involved on campus, finding an internship, making sure your financial aid is all lined up. So we know that there's a lot more that goes into being a successful student than just, you know, doing well during the times that you're in the classroom. And so that kind of encompasses that. And they are really there, your student success coach from day one. You'll meet with them, you know, over the phone for an appointment in the summer before you ever set foot on campus to kind of set some goals and figure out what type of resources you might need, what things you don't need, all of that. So they are there for you from the very start to make sure that you are successful, because we want that just as much as you do. And then I talked already a little bit about some of our engagements. So like I said before, all students in our program have an internship or field experience that is built into the program. And then I also talked a little bit about our career fairs. We do have a general career fair at the university that encompasses the human development programs. And then we have an education specific one for the teacher ed majors every year as well, where we bring in over 100 school districts from around the state, around the country, even some international opportunities. Obviously all with job opportunities looking to hire our graduates. So really great opportunities there. And because, you know, of all of this support, this success, the internships, our specialized labs and classrooms that get that hands-on learning, kind of everything that I've talked about so far, last year, 96% of our graduates were either employed or pursuing an advanced degree within just 3 months of graduation, which is huge. We're so proud of this number because it means that, you know, we here in the College of Education and Human Development, as well as just at Western, are doing our best job to prepare you and make sure that you have what you need while you're in your program here to get the skills and knowledge and experience in order to go and immediately do something with your degree. So that is awesome, and we're very proud of that. I also encourage you to follow us on social media. So we are at WMU CEHD on all of our platforms. And the reason that I encourage you to follow us is because this lets us get out some important information to you at the place that you are most likely to be, which is, if you're me, scrolling on my phone on social media. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We will post different important announcements. So updates related to plans for, you know, this fall, when our scholarship applications open, when those deadlines are, when we're doing more of these info sessions, as well as different things about, you know, our labs, our classrooms, different events going on, what it's like for life in a CEHD Students Day, any of that kind of stuff, as well as just some fun social engagement. So I encourage you to follow us again at WMU CEHD on all platforms. Don't worry, we won't follow you back. We won't like creep through your profile or anything like that. Not worried about that. So it's just a good way for us to be able to get out some of that info to you. And then lastly, I'm going to talk a little bit about next steps. So if some of you on here are looking to start at Western this fall, these will be things that you want to make sure that you have done. If you are thinking of, you know, maybe you're a junior or not going to come to us for a couple of years, then these will be things that you want to tuck in the back of your mind for once you are admitted. So getting accepted is the hard part. So once you do that, congratulations. Then after that, there's a few things that we need you to do. So once you know that you are coming to Western, we ask you to let us know that. And you do that by completing your intent to enroll form, as well as submitting your admission confirmation deposit or deposit waiver. Once you do that, that lets you, basically unlocks in your application portal your ability to sign up for orientation. So this year orientation is happening completely virtually. So if you still have to do that, make sure that you do that soon. You don't have to worry about coming to campus for that. We're doing all of those appointments virtually. And orientation is where you register for your classes, which is the most important part. And then if you are planning on living on campus, you want to make sure that you're signing up for housing, your housing contract, getting your room selected, all of that, as well as submitting your final transcripts. So whether that's final high school transcript, final community college transcript, as well as any official test scores. So again, AP, IB, ACT, SAT, whatever you have, we want those final official versions, and we'll need that before you can register for your second semester of classes. So there's a few more steps related to, you know, financial aid and things like that. So again, make sure that you either screenshot this slide or go ahead and write down the web address at the bottom. But those are kind of the main highlights that we wanted to talk to you about, because those are the biggest things, is letting us know that you're coming and getting you able to be signed up for classes and housing if you're going to live on campus. Okay, and so then lastly, the last kind of little homework that you have is going to be going to our virtual resources page. So again, if this was an in-person webinar, we'd be sending you on your way with some giveaways and goodies and an information folder with our brochures, information, flyers for all the specific programs that you're interested in, all of that good stuff. But unfortunately, we are not able to do that today. So what we have done is we have put that all online virtually for you to be able to access at home on your own whenever you want. So again, screenshot this or write down the website at wmich.edu/education/virtual-resources. So on there we have individual program flyers for each one of the majors that I talked about today. We also have our general brochure for the college, some of our points of pride sheets, all of that good stuff. We also have links to the advising pages for each of our majors if you want to see like what classes are in that program. We also have links to the actual program web pages if you want to go and learn more about some of the different majors that I've talked about today, or our advising office, our student success office, anything like that. So we've put all of that in one spot for you. You can see some of our different welcome videos that we have as well. So again, feel free to kind of bookmark that page. It'll be a good resource for you, especially going forward. If you are not starting this fall, it'll be a good resource to come back to throughout your admission process. Feel free to send me an email. This is my personal Western email, so valerie.m.horwath@wmich.edu. That is checked every business day, so I will be able to get you an answer pretty quickly or get you connected with somebody else who has an answer if I'm not the right person. So that's the best way to reach me, to get a pretty quick turnaround. If you have anything that you're wondering about, whether it's tomorrow or a few months from now, I'm happy to help however I can. Okay. Betsy, I tried to apply, but the application didn't include fall. Oh, okay. So that our fall 2021 application, thank you for this question because I did not say it. Our fall 2021 application opens August 1st. So hang tight for a couple of days. On August 1st, it will be live at wmich.edu/apply. So the easiest website to remember, wmich.edu/apply, and that will open August 1st for all 2020 entries. So if you want to come next fall, or even if you are thinking about starting in the spring or something like that, that all opens up August 1. Okay, so that is all of the info that I have for you right now. Like I said, I will be kind of hanging out for a couple of minutes just in case anybody does have any questions. But if you don't, thank you so much for joining us today. Feel free to log off, and I hope that you have a great rest of your evening. Really excited to kind of virtually meet all of you for our Western Wednesday today. So have a great rest of your Western Wednesday, and we hope to welcome you to the Bronco family soon.